Hey guys, my name is Muhammad Ashur and welcome to this video. In this video, we'll be talking about how to design good user interfaces and good user experiences for your projects, be it mobile or web applications. So let me dive directly into the subject. So before I begin, I will make a following presumptions to clearly indicate that I'm making this video for the following purposes. One is I assume you guys are non-designers because there are going to be a lot of beginner or freebie terms that I mentioned in this video. Probably if you're a developer or a product manager and you're not directly related to the UI design or the design industry or the core industry itself. And number two, you have you have a fixed budget or sort of restricted budget and a restricted timeline, and you have just a deadline just ahead of you, and you really don't have access to a designer, or you don't really have time to hire them or do anything like that. Obviously, this is going to be also number three for temporal reasons. I mean, you just have a deadline ahead of you and you don't really have time to hire somebody, or you really are not able to hire somebody, so you have to do it by yourself. And this video is for you, but I would really suggest you guys to go looking for a designer, obviously. And number four is that this video is just going to cover the abstract of how to work with things. So let's get directly into the subject. So first of all, I'm going to be listing a couple of tools here that I'm going to that I hope that you guys will find useful. Now, if you go ahead and look for UI UX design on Google or any other website for that matter, you'll be thrown out results like to take up a crash course on Photoshop or Sketch, or probably take a degree on it, or probably do a nano degree on it. I'm just gonna open up some tools here. The first one is called Figma. Now I'm just gonna I just created an account and I downloaded the software as well. It's available for both Mac and Windows. Just have download and create a new project. This is what you are presented with. Now, obviously, a designer would actually describe this whole. Will take up months to actually do it. Will take a really long time to get this done. But you're not going to do it in that level. But you just want to get the work done. So, I mean, it's a really bad term to use for a designer. I mean, just let's get started. Okay, so I'm just gonna press an A now on the Figma here. This is very similar to Sketch. So as you can see here, you have something like iPhone X, 8 Plus, or something. I'm just gonna select 8, okay, and you're presented with a screen size. Screen here. So with this, obviously, I have not talked about the first process. So what is the first process that are involved? The first process is called wireframing. What is wireframing? Wireframing is essentially just representing all the components, entities, and screens and the elements that are involved in your application or in your project or your business. So, for instance, there on the home screen, you need to have a text, you need to have a picture, you need to have an icon, you need to have the following things. You will not actually go ahead and describe the picture. You not go ahead and detail and draw the picture itself or the icon itself. You're not go into describing the text or the content of the application, but just the layout itself. Now let me show you guys what that actually looks like. So on the iPhone screen here, press on R, and let's say in this case I'm going to have the welcome screen, and here I'm just going to represent a simple heading here, and I'm just going to put this in the center, and I'm just going to put like 2 of these. Now this is just for the sake of presentation, so I'm just going to make sure this thing is going to have a light background here, and I'm going to put probably a button here. Okay, now wait a second. Now first of all, there's going to be only one heading, and there are going to be a series of paragraphs. So let's say I'm going to have to duplicate this. I just drew some rectangles, so I have these 2. I'm going to make this lighter. Okay, and one more thing. Before I begin, you can also do this on a pencil, or a pencil and pen, or a paper and a pencil. It is not really important to do this on Figma or any software for that matter. You can do it on anything. You can do this on Photoshop. You can do this on anything. You should just draw a simple rectangle. Okay. And the next screen is going to be the anything, like for example, on the next screen, you want to actually have uh, the toolbar on the top, and I'm going to have, like, let's say, a chat option here. I'm just going to put another rectangle here, and as you can see here, the thing is that I'm able to do this quite a little bit fast because I'm used to this. So now I'm not going to really do. I'm just going to type in something called send. Oops, send. Oh shit, no, send. And let's make this of this color, and I'm going to put this right over here. Now, and I'm going to put the just this, and just to make it look like it's coming from a different person. So this is an example of a chat application. Alright, so you can see here, and I'm going to flip this thing around. So I'm going to put this where, oh sorry, yeah, that's correct actually. So probably there's going to be like 3 introduction screens. So this is an onboarding screen. So let's say this is like an example of what a wireframe is. Wireframe is just a process of how to like get started with the screen. So you have 3 onboarding screens. You click on the next, you get the this screen, and then the main chat application. So you have these 3 things here, but you want to present it to your boss, and like if you show this thing, you're probably not gonna get the message out effectively, especially to a non-designer. So let me actually show you guys how to do something called prototyping, and Figma has this inbuilt here. So once you go to the prototype tag here, you can see the rectangle has this little knob over here, just like that, and then put it on the next screen here. Now this thing is going to have some magic here. I'm going to show you guys what I mean by that. So as soon as I select on this rectangle, I'm just going to put on the next screen, and let's say, for instance, if I click on the send button, it's gonna actually pop out a new message, right? So let's go ahead and delete this part here. I'm sorry, just duplicate this. I'm gonna actually delete this here. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go back to the prototype tag here, and you can see that every single element has this knob here. So I'm just gonna click on that and then move to the next screen. Now I'll tell you guys what I mean by this. Now if you actually click on the play button, this is what you'll be showing to your boss. Essentially, you're just telling all your people in your company that this is the flow of the application, and when I click on the send, this is what's going to happen. A new message is going to come up here. Now, this is an example of my application here, but this can be growing as complicated as you want. Now, obviously, you can go ahead and start decorating all the elements here, like putting up a rectangle or anything like that. But the reason I'm actually showing you guys this is, let's go click on send to back here. Now, I'm not going to go deep into this. I just leave up till here. Now, this is something called wireframing. You don't really have to use Figma, but I'll dive on to the next step here. Now, this is the first step. Now, this is the most basic thing that you can do. It's not necessary. Like I said, you don't have to use Figma. You can do this on paper pencil. Just remember the core functionality of your application. Design is not just about sprinkling a beautiful sauce over a terribly designed application, which is not really a practice with engineers. I'm really sorry if this hurts you, but I guess that's, in all honesty, I guess that I do justice with that cliche. Anyways, let's get started up into the next tool that I have here. It's called studio.design. Now, I'll leave a link in the description of this video if in case you're not able to follow or able to see these URLs here. Okay, so I'm gonna click on the add new project here. Just go sign up. It's absolutely free. And assuming you have making an app, it doesn't have to be an iPhone app, although it says iPhone app here. At the moment that I'm making this video, this tool is actually in beta, so I think they'll fix this thing up. I'll give this name a project here. I'm sorry, I'll give this project a name, and let me call this my home name itself, and I'll select the iPhone app, and I'll click on the create a new project. Now, one thing to remember here is that the obvious, a shortcut way to design good user interfaces is obvious. You'll be doing this before even you begin the project itself. So, one shortcut thing is to go to Google and search for UI kits for, I don't know, Photoshop or Sketch. Now these are the 2 industry standards or software that I use in the industry normally, but although there are a lot of other softwares as well. Figma and Sketch, this is the tool software that I'm familiar with, so if in case you need any help with any of these tools, you can comment on my video and I'll probably make a video about it, or you can get in touch with me personally as well. So I selected an iPhone application, and you can see here you've got like different pages here. You can actually add as many pages as you want. Now in my case I have page 1 and page 2. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the page 1 here. So let's say if I want to make something like a travel application, I will actually go ahead and select a lot of presets that are available here. All of these are presets that are available. Assuming you guys actually for instance, to do any of these, it's going to take a lot of time for you to do, and more importantly, these are standard assets. Obviously, these are not going to cover everything that you may want to create, but yeah, let's say if I want to add a toolbar here, I'm just going to drag and drop it over here, and that's going to be perfectly sitting behind, and then I can just use this knob here and then putting it up there. And the next thing I want to add is probably I'll have like all the trips, all the places that, let's say I'm gonna make a travel application, right? So oops, sorry. I can edit this text by double clicking on it. Probably like Las Vegas, and then I'll probably replace this image here with a photo of Las Vegas. I don't know. I'm just gonna have to go and upload this image, so I really don't idea. So just assuming this is how you actually edited me, as you can see here. But I hope this actually gets the message across. And oh, sorry, all the places. So you double click on it and do all of those things here. Now this software is actually going to be okay, so you can go back to the block section here and then drag and drop any of these components. Now obviously all of these UI kits are available for any software like Sketch or anything, but this tool here, studio.design, gives it without having to download anything. So you have all the professional design tool, elements as well, like everything that you saw in Sketch and all those things are available here. A lot of presets here. So this is like, you really don't have to invest a lot of time into this. So I guess in that way it's a lot better than I say something like this. But this will actually just produce just images, so you have to convert that into something like a prototype. For that, I have something here called InVision. InVision actually provides a suite of tools, something called mood board, wherein you can actually show all the iterations of your projects. Now, obviously, I wish I had all the time to show you guys how InVision works, but I'll give you guys some tips here. Now, hold on a second. A competitor or some kind of alternative to InVision is something called Marvel. Now, if you want to know how to design wireframes without having to draw all these rectangles and all of those things there's an easier way out of it, and that is Mockflow. And Mockflow actually has a lot of presets on how to design wireframe. Like I said, the best way, however, is to use paper and pencil and just draw it out yourself, and that is just for the sake of your convenience. So before you start designing things, you know what to put in every one of your screens. I'm really sorry if that hurts. Anyway, so moving along here, I told you guys that I will talk about these two different tools here. I'll just give you guys a brief thing here. So Marvel, I guess, has a full design suite, versus InVision actually gives you complementing tools, like for instance prototyping tools and mood boards and a lot of other tools. Now InVision is widely famous for prototyping tools. I'll tell you guys what I mean by that. For instance, you have like 10 different images, as in these are basically interfaces, right? These are just images. Like you just saw on Figma, I presented my project by, like, when I went to the prototype, when I click on this button, I wanted to go to the next screen. This is what I'm just saying, you guys. Okay. That's what is called a prototype. In InVision, you can actually select a particular part and then move to a different screen. Now in Figma, you don't really have animations, you don't have transitions, but in InVision, you have a lot of control over the prototype itself. Now Marvel Marvel and a lot of different applications that are available today will even show you guys the code in different languages. Okay, now as you can see in iOS and Android, I don't know, CSS says the color, and it doesn't give you the full code itself, but it'll give you guys some idea if you're a developer. Okay, especially Figma, and there are a lot of other tools as well. There's one called Avocode, and in I don't know about InVision, but Marvel does provide you with some code here, so you know how to transition from it's a simple design to and translate that into an actual application. So those are some of the tools that are involved in designing a good user interfaces. Now, I'm pretty confident that all of the designers will be pretty angry at me because this is obviously not a way a user interface is designed. Now, these are just some of the ways by which you could probably not talk to a designer and then communicate your designs in a better way. But these are tips just for the sake of assuming you guys have no designers around. Obviously, the best way around is to go to websites like Behance and Dribble. I mean, I don't have to like give you the spellings right. Okay, so I'll tell you guys. It's DRIBBB. It's 3 times LE.com. That's a famous site, and there's another site called Behance.com. Behance.com. Now there are other websites as well, like I don't know what was that name called, MaterialUp.com, iOS Up, and a lot of other websites. Now these 4 websites that I mentioned here are some of the most commonly um, visited sites for a designer because they look for inspiration. Not every day. It's not a matter of like taking up a tutorial one day and the next day it just comes up. It's a question of creativity. It's a question of solving problems. It's a question of trial and error. So it's not like development exactly. So I would just like to stop my commenting and then leave it the rest to you guys to design. I hope you guys found this video useful, and I told you guys I'll talk about how to use InVision and Marvel. Now maybe I did not mention a lot of tools that your favorite designers might be using. In that case, go to my new website called creatortools.com. Now I'll leave a link to that in the description of this video. It's my new project. What it does is pretty much shows you all the tools that are involved or used to create anything for that matter. So if you go to the website here and go to the design section or simply search for wireframe, you will get all of the tools that are used to create wireframes. Now you'll definitely see Figma, you'll definitely see Markflow, you'll definitely see probably, I don't know, studio.design for designing wireframes. Now you can all definitely on this website you can actually sort those results based on your preferred technical expertise, like if you're a beginner, expert, or something like that. With that said, thank you guys for watching, and I shall see you guys in another video very soon.